Two?
Yeah. Laurie Marshall. This is February 17th, 2021, and doing a Zoom call here with Lewis Wagner and Drawing on Earth. And Laurie's with the SingingTree Project. And there's a couple of us who are doing similar stuff in the world, and you're one of them. And Ross and John Aaron and Daniel Dancer, people who work with community and kids and art and creativity. And we met at a chalk drawing festival good 10 years ago. And I've been watching you do your thing over time. Now you've got some of my friends hanging out with you. And so I thought I would call you up and do a Zoom interview with you and connect it to the project that I'm working on and just have everybody networking of things.
I'm honored.
So I have a list of questions.
Wonderful.
Good. Yeah. So thank you very much. Here we go. Tell us your name, favorite color, plant, animal, and element.
Ooh, good one. My name is Laurie Marshall. My favorite, can you do the list one more time?
Color.
My favorite color.
At the moment.
I think I love this purple magenta I'm wearing at the moment.
Nice.
With gold.
Nice.
Yeah.
Plant.
My plant. Oh, I am deeply in love with trees and with these beings that stay firm, that we never see grow, that are highly intelligent and who provide life for us. Well, I'm in love with so many plants. And one particular tree is the manzanita tree, whose flowers are blossoming right now, and they point downward because it's the rainy season here in California. And if they pointed upward, the rain would smush all the pollen. They point downwards, and the bees have learned to unhook their wings and vibrate their muscles at a perfect C pitch. And it causes the pollen to pop out and to spread over the bees. And they are fertilized through music. And I learned this from Kate Marion Child, who wrote my favorite book, Secrets of the Oak Woodlands.
Nice.
Yeah.
By song and dance, because they're vibrating.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Favorite animal?
So many. I've been painting for a very long time egrets. And I love egrets and red crown cranes and mountain lions. So I'm not limiting myself to one.
Nice. And how about an element?
Oh, again, in order to be a whole person, I have to be balanced with all of them. I am a water sign. Water is very deep in my nature. It is both my strength and my weakness. And without water, we are not here. So I will honor water today.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question is, who are you and why are you here on the planet?
Oh. Who am I? I am born at this time where to be a white woman is to have extreme privilege. So I am somebody who was born into extreme privilege. I am 71 years old. I'm grateful for all the rotations around the sun that I have been blessed with. I am a mother of 2 sons and a grandmother of 2 grandsons. I am very flawed. I welcome feedback, I like that too, to my blind spots. And sometimes that is too much too much to put on people, which I know. So I'm committed to doing the work of self-reflection and honesty, to be in the raw who I am. I was born a people pleaser, and I have been groomed to be a people pleaser as a woman. And that can again be my strength and my weakness. I am put on earth to co-create visions of the world we want. And I love working with young people. I love working with children. I love working with humans and at all ages. I love working with elders. And I am in my great joy when I have a paintbrush in my hand next to somebody else with a paintbrush in their hand, or a piece of chalk.
We are a lot alike. Thank you. Could you tell us an early creative moment in your life that changed you?
When I was 10 years old, I was obsessed with drawing trees. And I set out to draw every leaf on the tree. And a kid came by and said in a nasty way, "You can't draw all the leaves on a tree." And I gave up drawing. Nobody told me I could draw the big, simple shape of the tree. I never told anybody that this happened. And I didn't draw again until after college, when, being an extreme introvert, I had not much access to my interior experience. And I got married at a very young age, at 20 or 21, I can't remember. And the person who I married had this belief that all people were artists. It was very encouraging of me to draw. And I began to draw again. And it always gave me information about my interior life. I said, "Oh my God, where did that sadness come from? Where did that anger come from? That lives inside me and I can see it." So I loved drawing and went back. My undergraduate degree was in teaching. I got certified to teach social studies. And then I went back and got a master's degree in art and education. And I called it community art, even though there was no such field at the time in 1980.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's great. How has imagination served your art in life?
Imagination empowers me. The lack of imagination strangles me. And when I am locked in power struggles or in painful relationship, it's the lack of imagination that has landed me there. So thinking bigger and possibilities and getting my imagination fertilized by other people's points of view is very important. And imagination is tied to my experience of creator within me, that it has endless abundance, and there are endless ideas inside me. And I was raised as a Quaker in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and was very influenced by the concept that there is that of God in everyone. And that's that endless abundance of imagination that is within us, because look at the incredible forms we're surrounded by on this beautiful, limited earth. The patterns of fish, the 500 new orchids that just evolved in Costa Rica this year, and all the systems and we have that in us. So imagination is a lifeline.
Nice. I'm from Pennsylvania too.
What part? Scranton
Lancaster.
around? Lancaster.
Lancaster. And my family's all from Scranton.
Yeah, I remember a Scranton connection.
How about tell us the Singing Tree Project in a way that you haven't told it before?
Ooh, that's a good one. So ever since I was a little girl, I had imagined that the world could be peaceful. And I grew up in the Cold War when the Soviet Union and the United States were adversaries and we had nuclear bombs. And I had a dream once that I was sitting between Nikita Khrushchev and John F. Kennedy. And I was making it safe. I was bringing them together and things were going to be okay. And in 1999, after I had painted a mural with 150 kids at Hillsborough Elementary School in Virginia, a little girl named Meredith Miller looked at the mural with me and said, "I wish the whole world could see our painting and then the whole world would be happy." And then she said, "What if the whole world made a painting together?" And that deep impulse that I had ever since I was a child of imagining peace was fed deeply and kindled. And I realized, it took me a long time to realize that I had such a deep hunger for a vision of all humans working together to create something beautiful, that it changed my life. And I went to several people and said, "Oh my God, this kid said this, and who am I to do this, and how can this happen? And I'm terrified." And Visually Hamilton, who is another amazing creative activist, said to me, "Well, just start with the children. Just do it and start with the children." And a coach also, Karen Botting in the Los Angeles area, said, "It is yours to do." So in this year, it will be 20 years that I have been supporting this forest of murals that were also shaped by a beautiful book that someone handed to me right after Meredith said, "What if the whole world made a painting together?" And this book was called The Singing Tree by Kate Sarady. And it's about her daddy's experience in World War I. And it's also about the racism between white people, the tribes of white people in Europe, between the Germans and the Poles and the Russians and the Jews and the Hungarians. The very end of the book, her daddy tells a story of crawling all night long with his battalion in the mud to escape the Russians and everything being destroyed by war. And when the dawn came, there was one tree that had survived. And in that tree were birds that have come from hundreds of miles who weren't normally together, and they were singing a song that had never been heard before. And when I heard that story, I saw our earth as the singing tree, and that we can destroy it and each other, or we can create beauty that's never been seen before. And so the structure of the singing tree is a tree on the earth and space. And that's the elements that are in this forest of 92 murals. And they're all different.
I hear birds in the background.
It's true. Birds and trees.
That's really touching and moving. I actually read that piece this morning about the soldier and about the birds and about like that song had never happened before.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was actually moving. And that's what Drawing on Earth is doing. I'm doing the same thing in the sense we're working on a global story together. You know, it's really the same vibration. So Elizabeth Gilbert talks about, you know, that the stories don't belong to us. They just kind of come through. So you either grab them or somebody else will, but it's you know, we're moving.
Yes.
I'm so impressed with the 20 years and all the pieces. Does each year have a different theme?
It's not by year, it's by community.
But I
So
saw on your website, it's by year. You have them.
yeah, I have them by year. And then we kind of title one of the pieces that year.
Yes.
But the concept is that the mural is a way to envision healing to community heartbreak. So whatever the community wants to focus on, that's what we envision, transformation and success to that challenge. So it ranges from autism to homelessness to addiction,
Fires.
fires.
Yep.
Right now we're doing two, one centered around health. The Olive Singing Tree of Health, we're inviting people to add leaves and birds to this Friday and Saturday.
I'm going to work
And
on one.
yay.
Yeah.
And we're also doing the Mahogany Singing Tree to reunite children with their families.
Oh,
And that is a heartbreak that I have. And I worked with students in Virginia, and we've designed a background for the mahogany tree. And we're raising money for planting mahogany trees in Guatemala and for actually reuniting the families. We're raising money for an organization called Families Belong Together. So I love to have like a multi-prong support that the singing tree provides, a living artifact of the hope of success, a visual that a community can share, and that in the process we raise money for the people that are doing the on the ground dealing with the issue. Because our work is not to go to Texas and reunite someone in Guatemala, but somebody is doing that. And our work is to make the issue big, loud, and beautiful and say, this is important.
big, loud, and beautiful.
Because the rest of the world, there's a lot of big, loud, and ugly violence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That takes our psyche over.
Yeah.
I love that you're multitasking in a sense, where this project then branches out, supports another project.
Right.
I really respect and admire that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's, I want to incorporate that more into drawing on us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So let's see. You just shared some of the next question. This one just moves into another category. It's like, how's business? Like, what do you want and need?
That is such a great question. We had about $50,000 worth of programming that died in 2019 because we weren't hands-on, and we had not figured out how to do this virtually. And I'm very grateful for support from the government. I'm now training people to facilitate singing trees, and that has produced some income, which is wonderful. It's online training, and it's a 6-month program where we get the experience of making a singing tree together, and then people are making singing trees in their own communities. And it's slower than plan A because everything is like molasses now with COVID.
Yes.
So spreading the word on that program is a great help. And the next cohort is starting March 26th. I'm training about 12 people at a time. And then people can make singing trees, and my nonprofit Unity Through Creativity is available to support people writing grants and getting donations and earning money from making singing trees. So that's very exciting. It has gone beyond my expectations in terms of the people that I've met and the the singing trees that are being created around the world, India and London and Northern England and Oregon and or the Bay Area and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So that's
Wow.
that's really exciting.
Yeah, I think it's at a different level when you're able to teach teachers or to take what you know and that it's valuable enough that other people would want to know that and then do something with it.
Yeah.
And then do those people, I don't know what you call them,
Facilitators.
facilitators, then
Mhm.
then they start to reach out and do singing trees in their communities.
Yeah.
And it's then an organization could hire them to do a singing
Right.
tree for
Right.
who, for what?
Well, schools are using the services.
That's perfect.
Even in the virtual time, I'll show you an example of a singing tree that was made virtually. If you hold on a second. So this one is the singing tree of embracing our unknown. And these little squares are the studies that people gave.
Oh,
And the leaves and the birds were all sent via email, and I cut them out and glued them on. So we've been able to create singing trees virtually. The artist guilds are making singing trees. Health organizations, nonprofits, like we're working with Marked by COVID, which is a fantastic nonprofit started by a young woman who lost her father, who was just furious that the government didn't do more to stop the deaths. And
right.
she's working on a National Day of Mourning for March 1st. And so our singing tree is going to support that. Governments have made singing trees. FEMA has made a singing tree. They have a higher education symposium. So the singing tree has been a way for people to express when they were at the right place at the right time in their work with FEMA. George Washington University has a academic coaching program. And at the end of the program, they've used a singing tree as a way to reflect on what they've learned. So
Nice.
it's limitless, businesses as well.
Yeah, and just even the name, the name lives on, a singing tree. It's mythological.
Yes.
It's an archetype of something. Of you were saying it's about your connection to nature. This is an archetype of where we attach something else to nature and make it more accessible and magical.
Yeah.
It moves it into the imaginary realm, a singing tree. Like who wouldn't want to be around a singing tree?
Yeah.
And have one. David Best's Burning Man temples, they're all about grief. When you burn the man on the first night, it's a big party, and it's that's connected to old pagan energies of letting community grief grow or suffering, and it's like celebration. And then the next night when they burn that temple, that's the place of the grieving. That's the emotional, that's the yin. That's the people have brought things and they've written on all the walls, and it's quiet, and it's a whole different level of community experience. And
well, as disaster becomes the new normal, we are gonna need to grieve in a very agile, deep, real, collective, individual, and creative way. And I definitely see singing trees as a tool for that.
That's great.
Yeah.
When the tsunami hit Japan, I was like, what do I do about that? And it's like, oh, just bring it right into my class. So
Yeah.
that night we did tsunami paintings. And
Mhm.
then when the fires were burning here, it was like 2 years ago, the smoke was so bad, and I was freaking out by myself. And then I was like, well, what do I do about this? It's like, oh, bring that right into my class. And so we all did fire paintings, and we did little blessings. And then COVID hit, and it's like, okay, I know what to do with that. Boom, bring it right into the classroom and have students, process it. We went out and did chalk drawings on the grounds at the school.
Yeah.
So that level of putting it immediately into the physical and the emotional bodies and ideas and images was profound. And then what I saw we did is then I posted it on Facebook. So it went right out into the community.
It's so smart.
Yeah.
I was working with fifth graders at Howard Elementary School in Oakland when COVID hit, and we did a virtual class, and this little girl made a drawing of the earth, and instead of having people holding hands all around the outside, she had COVID all around the outside. And she made another drawing of a girl and a boy with this big COVID in between, looking like this, and it said, COVID got in the way of my relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fifth
Yeah.
grade.
Yeah. That's right. That's great.
Yep. So
Thank you. Love that. Do
mhm.
you have a few more minutes?
I do.
Okay, great. What do you see as the role of art on the earth?
I see the role of art on the earth to strengthen, revitalize, and bring back the village that humans have thrived in for uh, hundreds of thousands of years, that is in terrible danger, and the Industrial Revolution has really hurt it. And in the village, we sing together, we dance together, we share food, we share stories, we make symbols, we take care of the children, we take care of the elders, and everyone has a role, just like in an ecosystem. And art's a way of pointing and saying, this is what's important, as Marcel Duchamp said. And so both the healing practice of us, we all can make art, and it all gives us a healing, empowering experience because of the neurobiology of making a decision and taking action, which uses this part of our brain, our prefrontal and our neocortex. So when you decide, I'm going to make this mark, that is empowering. And when you're using this part of your brain, you get out of your worry survival brain. And so the act of making art is so calming and healthy. And then sharing your interior world as a way to do peace building, then we understand more of what other people are going through, and we understand compassion. And so art is vital when it addresses our heartbreak and gives us hope.
You're bringing tears to my eyes.
Oh, good.
Needed to hear you speak.
Yeah.
Thank you. Like I needed to be reminded.
It's a great question.
What does the future look like to you?
The future of my life, the world's life, my grandchildren's life. Do you have any narrowing down?
Opening up, bigger, future.
Bigger.
Yeah.
I like what Valerie Carr of Revolutionary Love Project says, that this darkness we're going through is the darkness of the womb, where we are giving birth to democracy for the first time. We're all living beings, and all races, classes, religions, orientations are honored for their gifts. And it's not the darkness of the tomb. We're at a very dangerous time. It could be the darkness of the tomb for many species, for many humans. And climate, as I said, disaster is the new normal, and climate chaos is real. So we need to overhaul so many institutions, including education, where we stop wasting children's time and we partner with them to face these challenges and come up with imaginative, creative solutions together. That we don't abandon the children to this future. And we draw upon them because they want to have purpose. They want to have meaning. They want to have connection, and they want to have autonomy. And so it could be very exciting. I mean, what if all the gifts of all the humans were supported and got to flourish, and there didn't have to be that great business acumen of the drug cartels used for poison, and there didn't have to be the great imaginative technological work of the Russians could be in service of democracy and not sabotaging somebody else's democracy. And if we can think like nature in the interconnection and understanding that everything affects everything, and that we are one family, we could have heaven on earth. And if we put children first, we could have heaven on earth. So that's the future I'm working for. I think we're in very fragile, terrifying times.
Anything that you would still like to say?
Two things. The reason that I make large collaborative murals is to make a physical, visual, tactile demonstration that collaboration is joyous and produces results bigger than any of us alone. We need that for now, for this time. And the other thing I want to say is that every time I hear drawing on earth, it brings me joy, because it helps me draw from the earth, and it helps me understand that chalk is made of earth and that we can draw together. And the images that you create from above that have animals with shadows, and the great joy that comes from it is a reminder that the intractable conflicts that we have are made up and dissolvable.
Laurie Marshall, you just made my day.
Yay.
Give you a big hug.
Somebody said if you hug yourself, you can like feel holding the person.
Yeah, we do this, and Ben's group I'm at, put our hands up and touch that way.
Yes, so nice.
Wow, I am so excited. I just had a vision of you saying the animals in the shadows. I saw, I'm beginning to design this big drawing, and boom, you just said something, and it was boom, I just saw it. So okay, there's part of it.
Beautiful. Where is this going to be?
It's in Alameda, out on the Navy Air Base.
Beautiful.
There's I'll tell you about it really quick. We set a Guinness World Record out there in 2008.
Mm-hmm.
We covered 90,000 square feet, which is almost 2 football fields, with chalk, with 6,000 people, and most of them were elementary school kids.
Yeah.
So right up our alleys. And I had a vision of that 5 years before. It took that long. And then I found abandoned tennis courts. It's a decommissioned military airbase.
Mm-hmm.
There was tennis courts there, and I was like, oh, drawing, and so
That'll work.
I actually moved towards to turning that space into a chalk drawing park. It
Mm.
would be open, like, we'd started off in the beginning on a Saturday morning, and you could come and buy a box of chalk and go out there and draw by yourself or with others or a team, or we could rent it out to Pixar one day and they could just bring their whole crew out and just play. But it wasn't time to do that. And then this, this biggest chalk drawing by one artist kept being in my psyche, but I didn't have a reason for it, Laurie.
Mhm.
It just felt like, well, that would just be an ego thing, and I don't really need to do that. And how do I connect it? And it didn't, and it bothered me and haunted me. And then the soccer people took over the space, and
Mhm.
then I lost the ability to use it.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh, well, a vision, whatever, it'll manifest again. And then COVID hit and there's no soccer there. And I drove by that place and it was like, and so, now I'm in full mode production. I have permission from the city and the soccer people. And so the record is 1,800 square feet, and I'm going for 18,000, which is
Wow.
150 by 120 feet,
Mhm.
something like that. So
Okay.
going to happen on
Beautiful.
Earth Day, and we're working on this kind of weaving this imaginatory story together that then we can push it out to on a global level and invite everybody to set their own little personal world record for their creative expression, and have it something about imagining, or ultimately I want to wake up the imagination on the planet to the next level of evolution through creativity.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
That's what can happen.
Yeah.
I have so many things I want to talk with you about. I also have a 4:00 thing.
Let's do a timeout or a brain check on that.
Yeah. I would like to, like, in the next week or two. One is about assessing what the impact of what we do is.
Oh, good.
And I'm working on another vision of 5. We're calling it 5 by 5 by 5, 5 singing trees in 5 countries and 5 years, and then making it, keep generating it. And some people from University of Pittsburgh are going to be looking at the impact. So that's a whole thing that helps with funding.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And then I also wanted to tell you about my sister's beautiful book, Yin, Completing the Leadership Journey.
Ooh.
And she has done such a beautiful job envisioning a future where yin and yang are balanced in all decision making.
Oh, good.
In economics, security, food, it's a very, and she's inviting other people to envision their future too, their picture of the future, and sharing it. So what you're doing is part of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
All right. Big love and art.
Woo!
Woo!
Really fun to be with you. Thank you. Let's be in touch.
Say your website or a way to contact.
Oh, yeah. SingingTreeProject.org. And you can contact me there.
Laurie Marshall. Thank you so much. What an honor.
Bye.
Bye.